Hello, everyone. This is Rick with the Cyber Pro podcast where industry leaders share their insights. It's about 5 questions in 9 minutes, but today we have a repeat offender. Jeff Moore is a phenomenal early number 57 podcast guest back in April of 2021. So years ago. Thank you so much for coming back, Jeff.
Wow, yeah, felt aged already. No, just kidding. Hey, I was actually very honored that you asked me back. So thank you for that. And yeah, that's absolute fun.
Perfect. Well, first question for you. What have you been up to since April of 2021 when you were last on the Cyber Pro podcast?
Wow, I moved jobs. That's one thing. I've been getting more and more into writing on LinkedIn, and I hit 30 years with my wife this year and 25-year anniversary. So yeah, I've been busy.
Congratulations to you and your wife. I know that's a hard in our world. That's a very hard thing to hit.
Yeah, still hard. I think in my world, I don't know how she stays with me. I think it's business trips. Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Wonderful. I love it. So, Jeff, talk to me a little bit about how the cybersecurity landscape has evolved over the past few years.
I'm so glad you used the word evolved. It's not really evolved. Over the last few years, it's more heading towards the ransomware is just becoming the most prevalent headache for everyone. But if we take what's changing, we're getting a lot more privacy requirements in the States over here. Europe are now throwing out fines, right? That's helping drive different ways of trying to protect data and protect the privacy stuff. So I love that you used evolved, because honestly, that's what it is evolving. So there's no innovation in security, so we can only do evolution. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing the main things right now. AI, we can talk about AI, but that's more than 9 minutes, to be honest with you.
Well, and that's a good segue. Our next question is actually about, do you feel there are any emerging trends or technologies like AI or even approaches that you're excited about in cybersecurity?
I'm excited about it. So AI is bringing some interesting direction, to be honest with you. I think it's making people think differently. It's also making people ask questions differently, because, let's be honest, 90% of ChatGPT people are Googling, right? That's what they use ChatGPT for, right? The other 10% are really most complex questions that people are using for. And the benefit of AI and ChatGPT is making anybody a sort of data scientist if you know how to do it correctly, right? But I think that there are some really good benefits in security, but there's also some really good benefits for the hackers. So, now they can correlate data so much faster about your organization than they ever been able to in the past, right? So there is some things, but also there's how do you make sure that people are not using that tool to actually leak the wrong data into the public part of AI, right? And then my last thing, which I keep talking about, I wrote how I see AI in the industry and written an article about AI. Because right now there's no real AI in security. There's people talking about it, but it's still heuristic based graphs, graph and statistics, and that's fine until we can get it right. Because to be honest with you, security needs to be right for us, So yeah,
that's a great way to put it. I'm curious if you have any real world security stories that you could share and give us some lessons or takeaways that we can learn from it.
Real world. Well, for me, one of the first things for me is, perfect is the pretty much enemy of security, right? I really have these conversations with my leadership and their teams. It's like, guys, start working on it. It is never going to be perfect. There's no 100% security, so I don't expect this to be 100%, right? You iterate as you go along. I don't like using agile methodology as a statement, because it's not that way. Because you're not going to, but you're taking the same product and do it in phases and move it forward. And that to me is the way that we need to look at it. Because if you take the company, right now, Staples, the company in previous launch, a medical device company, and then pharmaceutical, they can keep going for hours. Like each part of that company is different. So the way you roll out, let's just say MDE, right, from Microsoft in the enterprise is going to be different because when you get to part of the enterprise that's retail, they have a different way of their systems run and their services. And it's the same in research. Research, you could get to a point out of and MD is not going to work on their systems because they're still using very old systems because of the research that they're doing. And there's no things out there. So you have to think about it and actually have an approach going forward. And like I said, there's no 100%. So get started in the right way that is controlled forward in the right direction, and don't wait to be perfect because you'll never get there. And if you're a perfectionist, it's never perfect.
I love it. I've never thought about it from that standpoint, but you're right. We can't attain perfection in anything we do, but cybersecurity is so far away from that. So thank you for sharing that.
So just a funny note, I worked with a guy, I don't want to say his name, but his last name actually was perfect. And it used to be one of those things, nobody's perfect. And he'd be like,
man, I almost want to change my name just for that. So be amazing. So Jeff, let's get to the final fun question. Previously, we asked you your favorite piece of retro technology, but I'm curious what your favorite piece of modern technology is that makes you smile.
Isn't anything modern today retro tomorrow?
Pretty much. Right?
I love my Rogue Batman phone. It's skinned Batman. It's got the Batman logo when it lights up when somebody calls me. That's my favorite part of technology right now. And it's the thing that keeps me connected to everything that's going on in the office and the universe, right? But, that's not what you're looking for. Right now, I'm all about trying to get data together and give real context across. And it's more than just one piece of technology, right? You're pulling data and moving it together and multiple points. And that's the reason that the few tools I'm looking at there, I'm not going to call them out. But that to me is the technology that's helping me the best, and it's moving forward. And I'm trying to get ahead of the game because context is key in security. And if something happens, you want as much data around any point in the organization at your fingertips. And that to me is key. And every company that I talk to is like, hey, this is the amazing thing. I'm like, well, and then I ask my favorite question, what does this do extremely badly? And then it shuts them up. Right. And then they're like, well, I will have to come back to you with that answer. And then you find out it doesn't help with the things I'm looking for. So it's one of those things. I'm not sure that's the answer you want.
No, both answers were great. So Jeff, thank you so much for being on the Cyber Pro podcast again.
Oh, man, anytime. I thoroughly enjoyed the few minutes we have together.
Thank you for tuning into the Cyber Pro podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on new podcasts and all of our cool bonus content.